All right, good evening, good evening. We're going to talk about this fat acceptance movement, body positivity, all that kind of stuff. Healthy at any weight or any size, whatever the hell it is, right? People claiming that they're just because they're obese, it doesn't mean that they're any less healthy than anybody else. All right, straight out of the box, let me separate these things for a minute into two camps or two, how I view it into two different uh, sections. Well, on the one hand, you have body positivity. If you're talking about fat acceptance, for one thing, I think people protest too much. I think that a lot of people have their own issues. Um, if you believe you're fat, in your opinion, you're fat, you consider yourself to be fat, or you acknowledge that or recognize that, or you just have been told that, or whatever the case might be, wherever it's coming from to get into your head, right? If you think you're less because of that, and if you think that you're unattractive because of that, that's your problem. That's not my problem, that's your problem. You're always going to have cruel people. You're always going to have people that have their own internal issues, have their own self-esteem issues, and so they deflect and project. And they're the first people to tear you down for anything that you do. They tear others down. They're out there. Mother Teresa there could be a video up about Mother Teresa, and 90% of the time there's going to be somebody that's going to say something really cruel and negative about it. Just going to say something about how she looks, certain size of her nose, or who the hell, something, just anything. Because some people are just miserable individuals. So you're not exclusive. You don't exclusively own that kind of infringement just because you're fat, okay? The other thing is that there's an ass for every seat. Now, I'm heterosexual, so I'm going to speak about that. If you're a woman and you think that you're unattractive or that guys don't find you attractive because you're considered fat or you consider yourself fat, what do you mean by fat? Do you mean morbidly obese? Do you mean chunky? Do you mean chubby? And then who defines those parameters? In any event, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong and you're mistaken. It's all inside of your head. You got to get your head straight because there's an ass for every seat. You're attractive to somebody you're hot, to somebody you are the ideal. I'm telling you the truth because sexual mapping is just far too complicated for it to be any otherwise. Also, the standard of what's considered conventionally beautiful changes. It's changed, over the course of time throughout history. We've had Rubenesque, was the desired, greatest physique. I mean, there were times where women wore hoop skirts and all this stuff, and medieval times and Victorian times and things like that to make their hips look bigger, to make their butts look bigger, to give themselves more of a shape that they really didn't have underneath of that, so forth and so on. Look at all the art, all that kind of thing. Okay, so let's get that out of the table. So as far as if you're talking about that aspect of fat acceptance, then yeah, of course, you got the same rights everybody else has. You know what I mean? You're not automatically an unattractive person because you're considered fat. Okay, so let's forget that. That's in your head. That's incorrect. There may be people that that their ideal is other, but there's going to be a hell of a lot of people that their ideal is you. Believe me. Especially, I can only speak from a man's heterosexual perspective. There's men out there that find you hot. Doesn't matter what you look like, what you think. It's what you think. That's what's, going on. It's in your head. Okay, so that, of course, fat acceptance. What do you mean? Of course, what do you mean? Is it acceptable? Yeah, it's acceptable to be you. Yeah, absolutely. No matter who you are, what you are. Well, within limitations, right? If you're, but I'm talking about if you're a chomo or something, that's unacceptable. Those kind of things. So we all know, there are lines, but just because of what you physically look like, no. Everybody's got the right to live their lives and be themselves, and no matter who or what you are, somebody thinks you're hot. Now the other side of that, the other is trying to promote that you go way beyond that and say, well, just because you're obese doesn't mean that you're any less healthy than somebody who's not obese. That's bullshit. That's complete and utter bullshit. There's a new, latest, greatest, state-of-the-art, hot off the presses study, biggest study ever conducted of its kind. It just comes out and finds that there's as much of a 98% increase in the risk of heart failure if you're obese as opposed to if you were not obese. And there's so much other stuff, what kind of metabolic disorders and this and that. And, obesity actually in the world kills more people than accidents, terrorism attacks, all kinds of, it's ridiculous. It's beyond question. Don't buy into that bullshit. You want to think that you're attractive? That's fine. You're attractive to somebody. That's guaranteed. That's a guarantee. But to go so far as to say, I'm healthy and I'm going to stand my ground. No, 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 no. Are you on any medications? You're on anything like that? Let's not normalize, abnormality, normalize illness. If you're on medications and all that shit, you're on that because you're not healthy. If you should be on medications and all that, and you're not on medications, you're still not healthy. You understand what I'm saying? If you're obese, that in itself, the risk factors are fucking, no. That's absolutely unhealthy. No matter what you feel your health is, if you're obese, if you lost weight and were less obese or not obese, you would be a healthier version of you. Every time, 100% of the time. So I hope that clarifies it. That's where I stand on it. That's the truth of it. I'm sorry. There's no other way to put it. That's the reality. Take care. Have a great day.